Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Thought Leader Thursday. I'm with Elise right now. How are you, Elise? Good
I'm well, thanks.
morning.
How are you, Francis? Good morning. Good to see you.
Good, good. We have something that is powerful as usual. The title of our session today is Strategic Goal Setting for Visionary Leaders from Long Term Vision to Daily Action.
Mhm. Yeah, and this is a really exciting topic for me, especially now that we're heading towards the end of the year. And I think it's a good time to reflect on how everything has been going this past year, but also looking forward. So with a lot of my clients currently, we're thinking, what does 2026 look like and where do we want to go? And I think that, having that vision and knowing exactly where you're going helps you so much in terms of prioritizing and making decisions going forward. So I'm really excited to have this conversation so that we can all start planning and make sure the next 12 months are really powerful.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that it's the end of the year. The Halloween is coming close. We're gonna it's really just the end. So 2026 is at the door, and I think we can also have a beautiful quote that's from Robin Sharma to explain a little bit about where we're gonna go with this today. So clarity precedes mastery. Clarity precedes mastery because it's the more clear you can get. Of what you want to create in life, the more focus you'll be in your daily behavior. So it's really about saying that that focus, that clarity gets you to do the right things and have the right behavior, the right habits in the right direction. And clarity is so important in the goal setting.
Mm. And I love this quote that you chose because I think so easily we think about goal setting or strategic planning for a business as something that's long term and far away. And I think easily people spend months building this idea and then it goes on the shelf and everyone forgets about it, right? And that doesn't help anyone at all. That potentially is just a waste of time. The part where this becomes really powerful is that when you can bring it down into small actionable steps. And that quote was talking about like daily behavior. I think it's so important to be able to also help you prioritize what you're doing. We were talking about James Clear in his book Atomic Habits, and
Hmm.
he kind of challenges people to say, I'll show me your calendar and what you're busy with every day, and I'll tell you what your priorities are. And I think so
Absolutely.
easily we get swept up in things that are keeping us busy during the day, whether it's phone calls you need to make or emails you need to answer. I think most of us do that. And having that discipline in terms of these are the things that I need to get done, they're going to shift me towards where I want to go. And being able to consistently do that, making decisions according to where you want to go. And that's why it's so powerful to have this picture. If you don't know where you're going, making those decisions and prioritizing it is actually impossible.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I remember years ago I did a course called Zero to Dangerous, and it was really about how to be high perform and being a high performer. And we realized that they made a comparison of the corporate athletes. There's so much downtime in or unproductive tasks that people are doing. I think at the end of the day, it was only a couple hours of good work that we do every day. There's a lot of distractions. Emails are a big one. Keeping our calendar open for everyone instead of really scheduling something that is focused work for this. The beauty is that once we start to be more clear about what we want, like you said, and having this goal in mind, there's a lot of distractions that we can actually remove from our schedule and start to say no to. One quote that I really like personally, and we are both fans of Dr. Benjamin Hardy, either for the book 10x is easier than 2x or the latest book, The Science of Scaling. One that I would like to share is this one. It said, "We are kept from our goals not by obstacles, but by a clear path to a
Francis,
lesser
you're breaking up.
goal." I
Wait, wait,
broke up.
wait. Am I breaking up or are you?
Let's see. Let's see. Well, we're gonna do it again. Let's hopefully you guys have not missed anything, so I'm gonna repeat it. And so the quote that I'm really inspired by, Dr. Benjamin Hardy, is this one: "We are kept from our goals not by obstacles, but from a clear path to a lesser goal." And that's so true because I think that what Dr. Benjamin Hardy was saying is, and you also we had a discussion prior to this, is that many times it would be easy to go for a goal that we know how to do. It's fun. We're gonna see the end of it. That's okay. But are we optimizing for really something that matters? Are we optimizing it for the big goal? And I think he meant, like, Dr. Benjamin Hardy likes to quote Elon Musk quote that I don't have in front of me, but he was just saying that the biggest mistake is to optimize from the wrong thing. Having a process that we optimize for that really doesn't lead to anything that's meaningful for the goal. And so it's really good to keep that in mind for the clarity aspect of it, right?
Yeah, I think this is a really, really great quote because, so easily we go for what's easy. That lesser goal is clear, how to get there. It just, it seems easier and it seems doable. And I think often people, you're a little bit scared by those big goals. It's way out there. You have no idea how you're going to do it. That is something that really excites you, and that, like, that vision is something that's really inspirational. But it's a little bit scary going, I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do it, but we're going to figure it out. And I think easily we can just go with what's like safer, because we know how to get there and we know those incremental steps. I mean, you and I often talk about, are we doing exponential thinking, or are we doing exponential growth in terms of ourselves or our businesses? Or are you just kind of going with, I'm going to do this 5-10%. It's safe. It's incremental. I kind of know what I need to do. And I think so easily we almost convince ourselves that that's good enough, and if that's what makes you happy, that's okay. But we are capable of so much more. And I think people that are willing to stretch themselves and really go above and beyond into that really scary realm, those are people that do things that are really impactful.
I've got so many stories that comes to my mind, and I think it's so true because, well, I guess I'm just going to say it. The one thing that came was a time where, well, first off, what I want to say is that the vision is very important, like you mentioned, right? And I think that to be excited about it, to have really emotionalize the goal. Like, if it's not emotionalized for you as a leader, how can that become exciting for the people to follow? I mean, there's, like you said, if it's just a 10-15% and it's not sexy at all, like, what? It sounds to me that you're going on a treadmill and what you do is just kind of work, punch in, punch out. And there's nothing fun about this. And I think from what I've read, and of course it's different from different companies, but I think employees love to go for a big mission, to feel that there's a calling and not just a job that I punch in and punch out. Something that creates a meaningful change in life for themselves or for the clients or for the world. Now I'm going in, I know that the time that I spent, my sacred time, is worth it. And you look at Peter Diamandis that started, what was it called? X Prize. Those are all moonshot that seems impossible, but you know what? They rally people with high emotional content. They're like, yes, we want to save the world. Yes, let's do it. And now all of a sudden you have all of these teams that are working on a big goal, a moonshot goal that makes so much sense. And then they get to the solution because they're excited about it. So, and that's the same thing with 2x versus 10x. I often say to my clients, if you're thinking about 2x, and even like for you listening and watching right now, is this really fun to think about 2x? What is your brain thinking when you think about you have to double your productivity? For me, at least, when I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to spend more time. I'm gonna I'm gonna put more effort. It feels like I'm squeezing the lemon, as opposed to if I pick up a goal that's really exciting and it's maybe 100x of what I'm doing right now, I can't have 100x more hours in my day. I'll have to really kind of say that's a lesser goal. I say no to this. That's not going to lead into this. And let's have a whole different strategy. And now I will remove things in my life, or I will remove things in the business. So when you look at that, like the story that came to my mind is having this emotion. That's something that's exciting, and that's going to be silly, but I remember I was playing ultimate frisbee. So hold on a second.
Okay.
And
drum roll.
And we drum roll, right? And so, but I think we were losing maybe 7-1. I think it was 7-1. So what do you do in that, right? Like, you're in this phase, like you can just kind of give up because that's it. We're done. But we were excited we were excited about the possibility of winning. Seriously, we're like, let's win this. So pick, like, now think about your goal, right? Like, it might seem impossible, it might seem not feasible. So we're excited. We're really having this emotion of being excited to win. We're like, let's go. We have nothing to lose now. Let's go. After that, what happens is that now we're like, let's just do one play at a time. Let's just, like, like, now we're not gonna try to being overwhelmed by all of the what we have to go back to, but we just have to think about one play at a time. And then all of a sudden we're like 7-2, 7-3, 7-4, and now we're making more noise and like 7-4, yeah. Like the other guys are saying, well, it's been 3 points we've lost so far, and then 7-5, 7-6, and then 7-7. We're like, whoa, we're like at the same level of you. And now they have lost like for like 5, 6, 7 points by now, and we're in a real momentum. And we ended up winning, I think, 10-7. Like, they were just they were out. So
Congratulations.
so the point in that is, like, that's what it came to my mind, is like this big goal that's exciting. We're like, let's do it. Like, okay, like that's not who we are. And then yet having the action, the daily action. What do we need to do? Like, well, we need to run. We need to give quick passes. Let's not overcomplicate. Do that big fancy play that we don't even know if we're gonna win it. Like, let's do what we know we're good at. And I think for me, it was running fast. So they're like, Francis, you're just gonna be there, and we count on you. And we won. So yeah, that's what came to my mind about like the excitement of a worthy ideal, a moonshot that rallies everyone, and then kind of say, okay, it's time now to think about the tactics. Let's trim that down. And I think you can definitely probably help with that in the next segment of this session, about how to go from something that's big and going into smaller goals or smaller steps of activities.
Absolutely. But what you've just said is so powerful, because I think we easily get caught up in like things that need to happen in future. We go, it's so big and it's so overwhelming, and what do we do? And you almost get like so far ahead of yourself. And your story now is so poignant, because there is only now, and all you can control is the shot you're about to hit, or the frisbee that you're catching or throwing. Like, there's nothing more that you can do. You can start getting upset about explaining to your friends that you lost, or you can just go, I'm going to do what I need to do right now. And I think that's so important for us personally and business and anything that we do. Like, just focus on what you can control right now,
and having fun to it. Like now, I'm sorry if I interrupt, but it was like just this fun. Like, I remember that we decided, let's have fun. Like, let's just do the basics and have fun with it, as opposed to being defeated in advance. The game is not over. Let's do it.
And one other thing that came to mind was, as leaders, when we have that vision, how important is it not to get your team rallied around it? So you and your friends and your team everyone was aligned, everyone was having fun, everyone was committed to each other to make this thing happen. And I think so often, strategy and goal setting in a corporate environment can so easily feel like it's behind closed doors with the big bosses. And then everyone else is kind of like, what are we actually doing? I often ask my clients, if I walked around in your company asking your board, your executive team, and your staff members, will everyone know exactly where you're going? And mostly I get a no. And I think often we think we're communicating, or it's kind of done once and everyone forgets about it. But having everyone so aligned and so focused on where you're going, where people are passionate about it and they're excited and they're like rallying around this thing, that's when you get this kind of sense of community of, guys, we're not letting each other down. Francis, if you're not doing your thing, I can't do mine, and we all kind of, nothing is working, right? And that sense of, we're in this together, there's collective accountability where we're holding one another accountable to do your part of the bigger picture. That's when teams get really powerful.
Yeah, and you're not pointing fingers at, oh, we're losing 7-2 right now because you didn't do this and you didn't do that. Like I've seen those games, and we have always lost, always lost. I can even remember because it's like now the morale, the culture is really bad. Now it's pointing fingers. Everyone's not happy. It's almost like they just want to get it done and over, as opposed to say, hey guys, let's just have fun with this. We all we have to do. And it happened actually to me even playing hockey. Same thing. We were losing 6-2. We ended up winning 8-6. But what's amazing about that is that now there's a momentum, and when there's momentum, watch out. Like you're like a train, a freight train that goes in one direction. You're unbeatable. And I wanted to read a quote that actually I'm doing a little challenge with my clients right now. We're reading the chapter Faith in Think and Grow Rich, and there's a great passage there, an excerpt that said, if you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out of the world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think that you're outclassed, you are. You got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battle don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or late, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. So,
Wow.
talking about a goal, do we believe that we can achieve it? And instead of focusing on all the reasons we can't, maybe we can start to focus on the reasons we can, and really having, like you said, like this accountability. Everyone's on is cheering themselves up. They're not pointing fingers. We're all in this together, and let's enjoy the process. And really taking action. And there's another concept that we haven't talked yet about, which I think is so important. I've realized lately in my life how this is important. The concept is making a decision. Making a decision. There are so many ways that we can find, like especially now with ChatGPT. It's almost like it's going to reinforce your choice, but you got to make that choice, right? If you ask ChatGPT, if I'm going in that direction with the company, is that going to, like, tell me why it's going to be a great idea? And then I can just say another choice, tell me why it's going to be a great idea. And then we never make a decision because we stay stuck about all the possibilities, but you got to make a decision at one point. And that's the starting point to start to know how. That means for a little while, we will not know how we can get there. All the most amazing things that we had in life, nobody knew how, but they figured out a way because they made a decision. So a question for the audience is like, okay, so this is your vision. Have you made a committed decision to do it? And for everyone really in the team, are we winning this? Or are we just like, we give up? What's the temperature right now? Right?
Are you doing it, and are you willing to do what it takes? Because anything worthwhile is not going to be smooth sailing all the time, because then it wasn't the big enough goal, right? I mean, it's always going to challenge you. And I know we've often spoken about, goals are not just to get the thing, it's who you become in reaching that, right? So do you need to become to win that ultimate frisbee competition, or who do you need to become the CEO of a 10x organization? Your team will require different things of you. You are going to have to grow in doing that, and that's actually the biggest challenge. The reaching the higher revenue numbers actually almost like a secondary outcome, right? It's who are you and your team becoming in order to reach that thing. And I think that decision is really important, but that vision also helps you make decisions along the way. So are you committed to reaching it? And then, so often my clients you're tempted by other things, right? I mean, so many people talk about like shiny object syndrome, or they're like, I'm like a squirrel because there's so many great opportunities that come past my desk. And that's fantastic. But if you get distracted by anything that looks interesting, then you'll never reach that thing. So I think, that's why I so often challenge people, make these longer term strategic decisions. Where are you going to go in the next 5, sometimes maybe 10 years? What is that huge goal that you're working towards? And then how are you going to get there? And what decisions do you need to make when these other things come up? the main question is it helping you reach that bigger vision or not? Because if it is, then you should be going after it and you should be implementing it. And if it's just a distraction and it's actually going in the opposite direction of where you want to go, that is just something that is taking your focus away from where you want to go. And you were talking earlier about bringing it down, right? So I see these longer term visions as that is the North Star of where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone needs to know it, everyone needs to be behind it, and everyone needs to be so excited about it, because that's like in your gut, you're like, I want to be part of this thing. It's something that everyone is like, it feels something that everyone is that purpose of, like, why am I getting up in the morning and why am I working hard? And then we need to break it down into what does that mean for us, right? So if it's 5 or 10 years, what does that mean for 3 years? What does that mean for 1 year? What is our 1 year goal? And often that's the things that help us with our budget setting and those kinds of things in a kind of corporate business environment. But then you need to bring it even closer, right? Because you need to make it actionable. So break it up into quarterly things. If it's a sales number, what does that mean in terms of how many sales we need to do? Then you go into monthly, weekly, and you can even have like daily goals, right? So for my teams, I often used to, hey, on Monday morning, like, what are the 6 things each of us are doing this week? Like, what is our top priority? What are the things that I'm telling you I'm accountable for and you're keeping me accountable to? What are those things that I'm doing? And at the end of the week, I love having a check and just going, hey, did you get to those things? Where did it go? Are you stuck? What can I help you with? And let's make sure that momentum keeps going, because you often hear that, like, if you improve 1% every day, how that builds over time. Like, let's make sure we're improving every day and we get to these actions every day, that if you're daily, weekly, monthly doing what you need to do, I mean, that graph just goes up like this, right? Because that just like compounds. And by the end of the quarter or the year, you're like, man, that thing that looked really hard, like we're done, right? Because we made it actionable and attainable and tangible every single day.
I like that because, even for anyone that's in sales, I think we're all in sales, really. We have an idea to sell. And if you're in sales for selling products or services, one of the things that we can do is just think about what are the business building activities that are moving the needle. And there's not that many, really, when you think about it. So the good news is that just by focusing on those activities, 80% of everything will be done. Everything will be done. So it's the Pareto law, perfect example. 20% of everything that we do generates 80% of the results. So are we doing the sales presentation? Are we face to face with a client? Are we doing the Zoom calls with the clients? Are we doing the follow-ups with the people that said no? All of these things that really, when you think about it, that's going to generate the sales. It's going to generate more profit. The profit can be reinvested, and now we can go for bigger goals, bigger things to do, and really have a bigger impact. So if I ask myself, I know sometimes I'm far from being productive, and I just have to go back and say, did I do anything that's moving the needle today? Like, have I done any business building activities? Not like a fancy website or anything. Oh, I need to change the button of that color. Does that bring any? No. And at the end of the day, are the people really concerned about that? No. Are we, as coaches, we are in the business of transformation, and I think businesses are also in the business of transformation. They're taking their customer from one point to another. They're transforming their life from point A to a point B. And so if we're doing something like that, then there you go. Like, the objective, the big goal is gonna achieve way more. And I think you've also heard of this trick that I think I decided to commit to it because I think it's very powerful. It was actually a reminder of one of my friends, and he said that he's doing it for dentists. Because the problem with dentists apparently is that they are always chasing their time. Like, the time freedom is one of their the biggest challenge that they have. So he said, okay, I'm going to give you something to do, which actually was taken from, let me just see, I think it was Charles Schwab, like in 1918. Charles Schwab, who at the time was a big guy in the steel industry, wanted to find a breakthrough in productivity. So there was, his name is Ivy Lee. So he was a pioneer of turning productivity coach. And he gave him this task to do. And he said, you don't even need to pay me right now. Just pay me when you get the results. And not only it worked so well, at the time, Charles Schwab decided to give him and cut him a check 3 months after for $25,000, which in today's numbers is 400,000. So imagine, we're just about to give you a trick that could be worth $400,000 right there in your business. So what is this
Give it
thing?
to me now. Yeah.
Yes. So 5 steps is basically just kind of before you start your day, you write down the six tasks that you must complete tomorrow. And you go number one, number two, by order of priority. Really, what is the big one for business building? The one that's going to move the needle even more. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you just work on one task at a time. So if you work on task number one and it takes you 4 hours, that's it. You move to number two. You haven't finished four. That's okay. Four becomes one tomorrow, and then you continue and you just do that list. And that's how apparently it created such a breakthrough. And it makes sense because now you don't do anything until you have done like that first one. And we're so tempted, like maybe the cognitive load of the brain says, I need a break. I need to do this. Let me just go on social media for a little while. We're going in a very different direction. Or let me just go for a coffee. I need to speak to my colleague and see how things are. Is this really moving the needle? Like the thing is, we gain so much more time after that when we've just focused on the right things.
Yeah, I mean that goes back to like makes me think of my to-do list. I'm one of those people that absolutely loves a to-do list, and there is such a good feeling when you like tick something off. Man, there's like the dopamine kick is real for me.
Bigger check
But
for
that's
number one since it's the biggest, right? It's like,
exactly.
number
You're like,
one. I've done
yeah.
number one.
But it's worth celebrating those things, right? Because this is focus, this is discipline, and it's like making sure you do things that, as you said, move the needle. So easily we can get busy and busy work, and it reminds me of urgent versus important, right? So easily you've just sat down, you've just gotten to the office, and before you can start, like people are like, oh, this is important, you must do this and whatever. Before you know it, it's like 10:30 and you haven't actually done anything productive. You've done what other people are demanding of you, but you're not doing what's important. And I think that discipline around what you're sharing is so good, because if you plan, especially if you plan ahead and the night before you're committing to what you need to do, you can say to people like, I hear you, and I'll get to it later, but I've got these other things that I need to do now. And I think, imagine a company where everyone operated like that and everyone just got their priorities done. Imagine what that'll do to their results.
And in sales, I think it creates consistency. Like when I remember how Xerox was such a good school for sales, like we did it also even in a quarter. So you would have like most of the activities for month number one was about prospecting, doing blitz, doing all of the things that maybe you don't want to do. But the reality is that now when you do the blitz and you come from suspect to prospect to getting close to the close. So these things were moving through the quarter and during the month. So it started with it's someone that's interested, and now someone has a proposal, and now we have a demo, and now we have the closing. And if you do that consistently, well, the months are starting to even out because it's just like something that you always do. And so always the first thing first, if I prospected because what's very tempting is that, I've done a lot of blitz right now and I'm just going to focus on closing. And then you get to a close, the close is being delayed for a month, for 2 or 3. And then you're like, I haven't done prospecting. So now there's a gap of nothing because you haven't done it. That's part of the activities that you must do. And if you do it consistently, then there's no problem like that. I mean, I've been guilty of it. But once you realize it, you're like, yeah, I think I need to do my blitz. I need to, whatever you want to call it, but really doing my outreach, talking to people on a consistent basis. Because if I don't do that, I'm going to have huge peaks and valleys. And it's very fun to just say, I'm just about to close. I'll forget about this type of activity. But am I moving the needle right now? That's really the question.
And the example that you mentioned now is almost, it can be translated into any other world, whether it's sports and doing like your training beforehand, or if it's whatever the job may be or what you're doing. There's always preparation in everything you do. Earlier I was telling you about the Pennsylvania Sports Hall of Fame. So I went to this event this weekend, and these inductees are obviously people that have, achieved incredible things in their life and their like athletic careers, but the consistency around what they share was so powerful because every single person was telling you that it was not easy. I think so easily we think certain people are talented, whether it's in an academic world or in a corporate environment or in the sports arena. I think we so easily celebrate talent, but it's not actually the talent that get people there. It's the consistency, exactly what you were just talking about. The people that do the work when they don't feel like it, they're disciplined, they're consistent. And so many of them were talking about their journeys and doing the work when you didn't feel like it, when no one was cheering for you, when you were feeling sick or you didn't want to. The people that woke up early and did the training when no one was watching. It was super unsexy. It was just, you knew that you needed to get it done, and no one was actually there to make you, except you knew that you needed to do it to get to where you want to go. And I think that's so relevant in so many other spheres because maybe your boss is checking your sales calls or whatever, but you know what, you can fudge the numbers. Only you know whether you've done it or not, right? And the results will show. So even if you change something, you're not going to get enough people to sign up. And for me, it was so powerful because are you willing to do the work? It goes back to what you said earlier. Have you made a decision? Are you going to do this thing, and are you willing to do what it takes to get there?
Yeah, and when you say that, it's like we have to do the uncomfortable thing, and we'll talk about it in a different lesson about the paradigms and what's in the way. But when you start to do the uncomfortable thing, then life becomes comfortable. And if you do the comfortable thing now, life is going to be really uncomfortable, So you might fudge the numbers. It's, I'm comfortable, I look good, but there's no numbers at the end. Doesn't feel good. And that's just for month one. But imagine in our own private life, like that could be just with relationship. There's a crucial conversation that we want to have. We're just going to avoid it. That's going to be really uncomfortable later on. So it's a great point. I'm glad that you bring that up because consistency and also just like making that decision. If I really want to go there and that's my purpose and I have a big reason why and that excites me, then am I doing what I'm supposed to do? No. Okay, so then let's re-engage. Let's look at again the vision. Yes, that excites me still. Good. Let's go for it. And there's another quote that I wanted to share before we start to wrap up. It was this one because I feel that our deepest fear from Marianne Williamson, and I'll tell you why I think it's important. They say our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And so what does that mean in the context of a goal? I think, if you choose a smaller goal, a lesser goal, you know how you're going to achieve it. Yeah, you could look good, perhaps, but the fear is that if you're really stretching yourself and you're really going to show your power and show your light, now you can fail. And sometimes it's also, we don't want to look that we're so ambitious in front of other people and, let's just stay small. So that's really our fear, is not that we're inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure. So let's show how far we can go. And that means that, yes, you're going to fail, like you just said in that story, how many days that people were not even watching and they were getting ready and getting ready and now they're praised. But you know what? They actually decided to make that choice to stay committed no matter what and to be powerful beyond measure, really. And that was not an easy choice.
And this quote, reminds you of, are you scared of failure or are you scared of like success? And so easily we just play it safe. We just kind of go with what we know. You don't want attention. You just kind of go through life doing what you think you need to do. And the word mediocre comes to mind, and I must admit that's one of the words I like least.
I'm glad you say least after I like. It's a good punchline.
I could say hate, but I don't feel like I should say it. But like, I really don't like that word because it just, especially like towards myself, I always challenge myself. Like, I don't want to be mediocre. If I do anything, I want to do it well, which the best of my abilities, right? And challenging yourself to always be better. That 1% we spoke about, like always choose growth, choose to be uncomfortable, choose to get better. And every time you do something, it's uncomfortable, it's scary. You often go like, let me just go back to what I know. It's so much easier, right? I mean, I think we've all had those thoughts. But then you do it the first time and it's scary. And then you do it the second and third time. And then you go, hey, this actually feels good. Or I'm getting better at it. Or, I'm getting more comfortable. And it's so great when when you can like pat yourself on the back going, I went through that really scary moment. I was super uncomfortable. And now it's starting to feel like kind of I belong here, right? In the beginning, you're always going, ooh, should I be here? And you used the word worthy earlier. Like, am I worthy? Am I the right person? Am I good enough? All those questions go through your mind. And then you go like, man, I can do this thing. Like, it feels so good, right? And there's a quote that Bob Proctor used, and I think it might be Earl Nightingale, where he said, most of us tiptoe through life in order to get safely to death. And man, like that scares me because that just tells me that many people like are okay with just being average, with just being mediocre, with playing it safe. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we are capable of so much more. And I think that reminds me that if we're willing to do the uncomfortable, if we're willing to do the work, if we're willing to commit to what we really want, like you can be and do and have anything you want. But are you willing to do the work?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a motivation session, and I like it because it starts with that really when we were thinking about it. Like the worthy goal is the start, and then that's the decision. And so I have a question for the audience. It's like, what's one goal you've had on the shelf for too long and that now needs to be activated? Is there something that you had on top of your mind? You're like, yeah, I kind of played small a little bit. Let's go, let's activate it because I mean, life is precious, and it's important. I know it for people. It might sound cliche, but you know what? I mean, I had a dear friend of mine that had, just passed away last year, and it was unexpected, just like that. And the question I had for myself was, am I being alive while I'm alive? So you can choose to have this check-in, check-out type of mentality going to work, but you know what? It's half of your life. It's really half of your life. The other one is being you're sleeping, if you're sleeping, and the rest is you're at work. And some people spend more than 50% of their life working. So do you want to be at work feeling like constantly depressed, checked out, that deep down you're not doing your best and that you're not really excited. So it's time to speak up and just like go for the big goals. Let's try it. Let's be alive and watch the momentum with small little incremental activities. You could be that team that, even though like figuratively speaking, you're losing 7-1, but you're gonna win 10-7. It's possible. So yeah, thank you for mentioning this quote from Bob Proctor or Earl Nightingale. It's such an amazing, powerful quote. So thank you.
Yeah,
I think it's time to. Yeah, tiptoeing, right? I was tiptoeing in my own speech when I said it. so now it's time to do a little of a takeaway. Oops. Let me just see. I'm tiptoeing right now. Hold on 1 second. We're gonna finish this properly. There you go. Key takeaways. You want to start?
Yeah. So the I love the first one that says big goals clarify small decisions. This is where we were saying you need to have that long-term vision and bring it down into what exactly needs to come. Like what needs to happen every day? What decisions do you need to make, and what actions do you need to take to get your steps and to get closer to that big vision that you have?
Yeah, and clarity is bigger than complexity. I think that the clearer you are on your big goals, it eliminates a lot of things. You're starting to say no to a lot of distractions, so it's actually simpler. Success doesn't come from more goals. It comes from like fewer goals, or just like this big goal that now everything is focused on that. That's why I love what Benjamin Hardy is saying. And I think we didn't really mention that, but if for any goals, big goals that we have, how about we actually stretch ourselves to do it in less than a year, for example, 5 to 1 year. The reason I say that is because if we wait too long, if it's a 10-year goal and it feels like we don't need to act on it now, but what if we challenge ourselves to have a big goal and it becomes even simpler because now we do the things right now and watch what's going to happen after. Yeah.
Yeah. The next one is goal driven calendars win. Make sure you're spending time on your priorities, on the things that are most important, and don't just get filled up with, urgent things. So make sure you spend time on the right things that actually move you towards that goal.
And the activities that we just mentioned, right? Like the IV example, like maybe just taking these 6 activities that you jot down the day before, and you only focus on that. And value-driven vision is magnetic. We said it. Like, do you want to be in a company with something that's exciting, having a calling as opposed to just a job to do? Because if you're a leader that has a magnetic vision, people will follow. They want to be, like we said, 50% of their time is working. I would rather work in a place where I feel like I'm making a meaningful contribution to the world and that it's fun and it's exciting, as opposed to let's just do 15% more or even 25 without no reason, with no magnetic reason why I should do it.
Absolutely. And then measurement fuels momentum. Make sure you making progress every day. Build that momentum, get that energy up, because that's when people really start doing big things, and it all accumulates into really significant numbers and significant progress.
There you go. That was a session today, and as we're very excited to do it together. I love the time that I spent with you, Elise. So, and I know that everyone that connects with you personally will definitely become a better leader and accelerate their growth for the business. So you can actually scan that and reach out to Elise anytime, and you know how to do it. For myself as well, we're very, very happy that you are here on LinkedIn live with us, and just want to say thank you for all the time you spent with us, and thank you, Elise, for being here.
Absolutely, Francis. Thank you so much. We always have a great time when we have these conversations. And I hope that's gotten a lot of people thinking about how they set goals, what they're expecting of themselves, and knowing that they can do whatever they want. So, hopefully we've given you some actionable, things to move forward with, so you can really go and shoot the lights out and start in 2025 amazingly, and then set yourself up for an incredible 2026.
2026, big goals, guys. Thank you so much, Elise, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely. Thank you.